Because again, you talked about South Carolina honoring their offer to you, and you honored your commitment and stuff like that. And you're a guy, again, you battled a ton of adversity. I mean, on field, off field, whatever. And I think you told me last time you thought maybe there was a chance that, or people thought you would never pitch again, would never throw a baseball again. I mean, just where did the injury history start for you? I guess it started in high school, right? Like, just kind of walk me through, because obviously 14 you were hurt, 15 you spent the entire year recovering, and then 16 you finally got back on the mound again.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I guess the injury started initially whenever I was 12. I was wrestling in the living room with my cousin Rodney. Um, he dropped over and he picked me up and he dropped me and I hit my elbow on the coffee table. It was marble, and I guess the bone that's like covering the UCL had pulled the UCL off of my elbow, and it shriveled up and died. And so from the time I was 12 until I had blown through my elbow in 14, I didn't have a UCL. So I was pitching that whole entire time with no UCL on my elbow and stress
Which
fractures.
sounds like it shouldn't be possible, honestly.
It does sound like it shouldn't be possible, but like you said, everything happens for a reason,
Right,
and God
right.
willing, I ended up where I was because of it.
Dang, that is wild. So what was the injury in 14? Was it just, it was something, it would stem from that, right?
The initial surgery was supposed to be just getting two screws in my elbow because I fractured all the way through my
Right.
olecranon. But then during the MRI, they went in and they dug deeper and they were like, "Oh, and you on top of it, you didn't have a UCL, so we're gonna fix that problem too." And as I just remember going into the surgery room, like I was about to like pass out from the drugs or whatever that they give you to go into the surgery, and I just remember hearing the doctor say, "This is the most messed up arm I've ever seen." Like, just bad. I was like, "Oh no!" Like that's the worst thing that I could possibly hear before passing out and not knowing what's going on.
So was it at that point that did the doctors tell you, like, hey, like, there's no guarantees, or like, we don't think you'll ever be able to throw again, or like, when like,
It was actually after the surgery. They
okay,
were like, the surgery went clean. However, we had to, even out bones, put screws in your elbow, reconstruct a UCL that is non-existent. So they're like, "Good luck." It's like, "Thanks,
jeez, God,
appreciate you."
wow. So what was, I'm curious, what was the rehab like? I mean, did they give you a timetable, like, hey, if you do get back, it should be
It
this
wasn't.
long?
It literally wasn't. There was no timetable for
Because, like,
anything.
I mean, obviously with Tommy John and like you tear your labrum, there's a very set, regimented, like, hey, you do this week, this that week, like,
I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. There was no like set regimen. Like they were like typically we would throw around 5 6 months. It's like okay, like that's not a bad timeline. And then I'm ended up moving back to Maryland to train with Jamie Evans, and he was like, "Yeah, there's no timeline. We just got to get you ready for the fall. So let's get after it. Let's push ourselves." It's like, "Okay." Like I don't think I followed there's a Tommy John throwing list. I don't think I followed that thing for one day. Like it was like they told me that I wasn't going to throw, so screw that.
you're
Screw
defying
that.
odds
Yeah,
anyways. Like,
yeah,
what does it
screw
matter,
that.
right?
Screw them. Like I'm going to get it the way that I want to get it. And so I got after it and ended up being better than what I was.
I was about to say, were there ever moments for you where you had doubts of like, because I'm sure that type of recovery that you're going to have some good days and you're going to have some not so great days. I mean, were there ever moments for you where you questioned whether you'd even be able to get back to what you were?
The first 5 months, I would say was extremely difficult because I wasn't throwing. Like I,
Right.
I was literally just trying to build everything back up, get range of motion, everything, in order to get prepared to throw. But once I hit throwing, it was like I'm throwing the baseball as hard as I can every time I throw it because I'm not
Right.
gonna be told that, you're not gonna be good again.
And so then you were ready for fall of 15, right?
Yes.
I want to go back, by the way, that spring of 15 though, because I mean, were you on campus all season, or were you in Maryland just training? Like, were you?
I literally deferred for the entire year, so
Okay,
I
okay,
didn't redshirt. That's why I was draft eligible as a true freshman.
right,
But I deferred for a year so that I could come in and be fully healthy for
gotcha.
the
Okay.
16 season.
And then tell me about the first time you took the mound after the injury, because I'm assuming that was fall of 15, right? It wasn't spring of 16.
That
Right?
no. I mean, the first time I took the mound was in the fall.
Yeah. Okay.
However, I don't think anything really settled in for me until I crossed the line for that first game day,
Right. Right.
and I
But
lost
you,
it.
but you knew your arm was good to go before that. I'm saying, like
Oh
you were
yeah,
able to
yeah,
pitch you were able to pitch a full fall and just kind of come back, and
100%. I mean,
which
I
is
think
wild that you were able to just ho hum just come back like no big deal after being told you'd never throw again. Probably that to me is like that's just wild. I mean,
yeah.
did you ever call that doctor up after the fact?
I still talk. I actually still talk to him all the
I
time.
mean, hey, a little bit of a misevaluation, my guy.
Well, he said he looks at me all the time and he's like, "Cal, you're the best miracle arm I've ever seen." I was like, "All right, thanks, man. I appreciate you."
For sure.